Hey, what's up, everybody? Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock where I'm at, and the market's open in 2 hours. So this is our weekly outlook video. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you had a great weekend, and I'm really excited about this week. We ended last week on a great, great note, and trading is all about momentum. Life is all about momentum, and keeping, when you get some good momentum going, keeping it afloat. It's super important. So it's been on my mind this weekend. I've been thinking about it a lot. So really trying to keep that momentum that we have as a group. If this is the first time you're watching me, I have a trading community, a training program that outlines my strategies that I use every single day to navigate the markets, in hopes that when people go through them, it's because there's no cookie cutter way to trade. What you have to do, and to quote Jack Schwager, if you ever read the book Market Wizards, if you haven't, I highly, highly, highly recommend you read that book, man. It's super entertaining. The best traders in the world, managing billions of dollars, and people who really made it trading. He interviews, and Jack Schwager, after interviewing all these people, he was asked, I forget who, oh yeah, on Chat with Traders, in multiple places. I've heard of his talks on Audible, on some of his audiobooks. And he said the most important thing after interviewing all these legendary traders is that what is most important is that you and me develop our own style of trading to whatever fits your personality, the way you look at the world, the way you look at the markets, the way you look at yourself. It's completely different than my life experiences and what I've been through, because what I experienced in life affects the way that I see the markets and the way I see the charts and the way I communicate with the world, all that stuff. So it's super important to really start thinking about, and this goes out to my students out there and the people I'm mentoring, what is my trading style? I'd really like for you all to ask yourself this week that question, because and the style can change for sure. So I used to be way more technical analysis based, and it's really moved into more fundamental analysis, 50-50 with technical analysis, because I keep up with the economics in what's going on with the world, the news cycle, what's happening on Twitter, right? There's so many resources out there. So getting plugged into some good ones, using those, understanding what's happening day to day, and then applying it to technical analysis has been my formula. So, but it could be completely different. And, there's some people that say technical analysis is hocus pocus. And then there's other people that say they're just complete technicians. So, it all depends 100%. So anyways, I'd like for y'all, I just went on a little side note rant, but finding your own this week, you're just start thinking about, what is my style of trading? Do I like to swing trade? Do I like to just get in and out? And that's a great way, because a lot of times we're going through the motions and doing this, but we're not making progress. And so that is excellent way to start actually making forward progress in your trading and your business, right? What's my style? How do I look at the world? So that's going to be super, super, super important. So let's get into, so I'm really excited about this week. Speaking of technical analysis, is that last week we crushed it. Great job, everybody, for real. But it was very heavily news-driven, news events. Fundamental analysis played a huge role in predicting how the market would react to the Fed, NFP, and we did a great job. So way to kill it, everybody. But this week's going to be a little more chill. Of course, in the era we live in, and with the Trump presidency, we're just one tweet away and one huge headline away, Brexit. So, I say that lightly, but on the surface, it seemed a lot more chill than the last few weeks. So that's a good thing because then our technical analysis would really come into play. One of the big market movers I'm looking at is Monday. Christine Lagarde, who is the new European Central Bank president, will be speaking for the first time, like as head of the ECB, and I don't know if they call him president, the ECB. I'm not sure, but she's the head of the ECB. So this is a big deal. A lot of people are thinking she'll be ultra dovish, but we'll see. And this is going to play a big factor. I shared in my VIP group. Let's see. Here's my Euro chart. And if you're in my group, you get access to the charts that I send out. And so the big thing I'm looking at here is this huge wedge breakout. And, this could potentially be a double top for sure. That would be 2 false breakouts in a row, though. A lot of times you don't see that. So that's why I'm not thinking that possibility is as big. So we have this huge layer of what was support and now is resistance right here, a little bit above 112. So I'm thinking that the meeting, the ECB meeting on Monday would be a big catalyst to move that. So, and if we get above 112.20, that'll be a big deal. So here's my live chart of the euro. Of course, we're not live right now in terms of markets. This is on a monthly chart. On daily chart, head and shoulders, massive descending wedge. Let me show you something about market structure and descending wedges. A lot of times when you have, not always, there's no such thing as always in the market, but when you have a breakout from a descending wedge, it will retrace and break out equal to the start of the descending wedge. Now, is that going to be 1.24? I highly doubt it, but could it be 115? So I had this 114 level marked because this is a big layer of support, and it was what was support, now resistance, and at the top of the wedge, that is a huge layer right there. Okay, so that's 115.40. Let me show you an example of this where it's already played out. This is a little smaller descending wedge. This is in silver. And this was back in the first of the year. I remember this vividly. And you can see, I remember here we broke out of it. And this was a big deal, this first rally. And then the second rally overtook. And now look where we're at. I mean, massive breakout. Massive. And we just broke out of this level right here, which was a bit of a triangle. So let's see what happens, especially with silver. So I guess if I'm already talking about the metals, let's take a look at gold. Really like gold right now, for sure, especially with the dovishness worldwide. Especially, we have some members of the Fed speaking this week, and I'm pretty sure we do. This is going to be one of the biggest ones of the week. non-manufacturing PMI on Tuesday. So that's going to be one to watch gold with. And let's see. So remember Evan speak from the Fed. Thursday is going to be a decently big day out of UK, but until Brexit gets resolved, I think that's the main thing that's really happening, rather than the Bank of England. Monetary policy out of Australia Thursday night, where I'm at, and then Friday, right? So like I said, this is going to be a big deal for CAD. Dollar CAD, speaking of which, looks like a move to the downside. We got a bit faked out last week, but I think it still looks good. And just to backtrack, because this is the first chart I shared to the group. This is the dollar index, which is the inversion of Euro USD. There's multiple ways you could look at this, but this is a massive wedge. And this is how I had it drawn last week. From this fractal point here, bearish flag. And if I had kept it there, I kept that trend line, we're already below it. Sorry. Ugh, man, I get up super early some days. And then by this time, it's like, got to have more coffee, got to get moving or something. So, but I drew this on here and I shared it with my group because this is the last line of defense here for real, right? Because this is the last point. It's an old point. It's a fairly new one, but we had a fractal there, and but if we go to the 4 hour, we're already below, and look, kind of breaking out of this. So especially if Christine Lagarde is somewhat hawkish or not as dovish as the market's kind of expecting, that's going to make the euro pop higher and the dollar index is going to drop. Once that happens, once we kind of clear this last bastion, this last stronghold of support, next stop is this level of support here, I believe. 96. Next one, 94.5, 95. I think this looks pretty legitimate right here. And we just start working our way down. Who knows how far this could potentially go. Let's look at it on a weekly chart though. Now this is long term, but man, if we get a turnaround on the dollar that retests this trend line here, God, I haven't even really, it's been a while since I've looked at this on this weekly chart, but that's going to really confirm that, the euro is going to go to 115-ish. The pound, 132, 133, right? We're already broken out here for sure. And, one positive Brexit headline and this thing's going to rip higher. Dollar Swiss broken down, right? This is on weekly chart. Let's go to the 4 hour. Now my internet's being slow. This is where it is right here. There it is. Look, this is a good case for using fanning trend lines like I teach in my training, right? Check it out. We're in a triangle formation. So we have our long-term target here. Long-term target's the bottom of the triangle, which I think looks totally doable, especially if we get a risk-off type event. Maybe the S&P 500 fails up here. It sure doesn't look like it's going to. Yeah, it looks so, it just doesn't want to stop, man. It's crazy. So definitely going to be watching stocks for sure. But it does not look good for the dollar. I shared my euro pound chart. So let's go to weekly chart. So this is what I have, right? So we had this range potentially breaking down. Here's this point here, this point, and you can see this bearish pennant here. And it looks more structured like that on a 4-hour chart. Bearish pennant trading below that trend line, so it's barely holding on there. And some positive news for the pound would really make that turn around. So that's the other side. If on Monday Christine Lagarde is not it is super dovish, then that would be negative for the euro pound, and we would definitely see it move a lot lower. So bearish the dollar still. Let's take a look at oil. Oil looks strong for sure. So a break up above this line here, then I will be really targeting this top trend line. But we're in another triangle here. They're really so the market's really setting up kind of across the board. That looks pretty on point right there. And let me go back to the dollar CAD. Dollar CAD, where you at? I can never find it. Here we go. So from this fractal point here to this fractal point here would still put us below this trend line if that's what we're going by. And from this move, from this high here to this low, puts us at the 50% retracement here. I had this drawn from last week. We rallied a bit higher, but look at this rejection. Look at that doji. So I'm going to be looking to get into this trade pretty soon, for sure. And if oil breaks higher, which is a good chance, and on Friday, if those Canadian numbers, the Canadian employment, are positive CAD, man, this thing is going to, well, we're going to be targeting this 161.8 Fibonacci retracement down here, which would be one heck of a drop. So still bearish on the dollar. It's just the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised at the start of the week, just like last week, we got if we got some dollar strength, right? So last week, if you were keeping up with my weekly charting video, internet's slow out here. If you're keeping up with it, then I talked about Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, perhaps strong dollar, and getting into Wednesday, then we'd have the Fed, then we would see some dollar weakness, and then some follow through on that weakness on NFP, and it played out perfectly. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, excuse me, a little pullback on the dollar here, for sure, a dip. But long term, looking at it in the big picture, I still bearish the dollar. So I have no reason to believe in this dollar strength as long as we have the euro breaking out and the dollar index breaking down. So we're gonna have a great week. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'm super excited. The vibe in the group is so good, man. Y'all are the best. So let's keep it up, and I will see you in the chat room. All right, everybody, let's get it. Peace.